But my favorite thing about TPUSA is the fact that the founder died of COVID, and Charlie Kirk was out here deriding COVID measures. A feeling of deep admiration for someone or something elicited by their abilities, qualities, or achievements. That's not something that is innate. That is something that is earned, elicited by their abilities, qualities, or achievements.
Yeah, it wouldn't be earned.
Elicited by their abilities, qualities, or achievements. Literally, that means earned.
It doesn't.
I am reading you the definition. Elicited by their abilities, qualities, or achievements.
Sure, and I could argue each individual point.
My friend, that literally means earned. What I just read to you. And for you to just say, no, it doesn't, is infuriating. Who am I talking to?
Yeah. So my name is Jerry, and I work in direct connection with Turning Point USA.
Of course you're a Jerry, a fucking Jerry.
You know, I feel like when my mom named me that, you know, I feel like, you know, she just went really back in time, but you know.
Is it with a G or a J?
It's actually with a G, which is, you know, obviously not general spelling, I would say, but yeah.
I would say that's the cooler spelling, so you lucked out.
Yeah, most definitely, I agree, yeah.
So you sound British.
Yeah, I'm from the UK. But, I'm here in California right now.
Oh, you're out in California. So are you actually affiliated with TPUSA?
I work with I'm part of the media team.
Oh, well, cool. I think they're a disgusting organization. You know that, right?
Whoa. Why do you think that? Can I just, you know, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I mean, off the top of my head, like, you know, they bust rioters to the Capitol on January 6th to try to overturn our democracy. That really doesn't sit well with me.
Well, you don't believe in the First Amendment, or?
I believe in the First Amendment. I don't believe in rioting at the Capitol in an attempt to overturn a free and fair election.
I mean, do you believe the right to, you know...
Especially by an AstroTurf group like Turning Point USA, which bust in people backed by billionaire money. You know, that shit don't sit well with me. Like, that's my main problem with the group, is that, you know, you're sloshing around in all this big money, and you're trying to sway public opinion in favor of fucking billionaires, as opposed to being some that's the way you guys paint yourself too. You're some grassroots organization. You're just out here doing the will of the people, and you're not.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue and say it's actually the complete opposite. Personally, from my view, I would say that
you could argue that, and you're right to be wrong. You know.
Sure, but I would say, like, when we've seen Kamala Harris running and Trump running in the presidential election, more openly, I should say openly, more billionaires supported Kamala Harris than they did Donald Trump.
You are correct, but then, like, look at Trump's cabinet. How many billionaires are in the cabinet now? And specifically, that's a good deflection off of the fact that, you know, Turning Point USA doesn't take small dollar donations. They're funded by big money.
Well, anybody can donate to Turning Point Action and Turning Point USA.
They are funded by big money, predominantly oil and natural gas money.
I mean, sure, they have sponsorships just like any.
They are predominantly funded by oil and natural gas money, and you see it all in the opinions that TPUSA spews. And do you want to know my favorite thing? This is completely off topic, but my favorite thing about TPUSA is the fact that the founder died of COVID, and Charlie Kirk was out here deriding COVID measures. that cracks me the fuck up, dude.
Well, I mean, we can all agree that during COVID, which was a really scary time for the United States, I mean, let alone the world.
Now, you know how dishonest you're being when you're like, we can all agree. It's like a poisoning the well fallacy, right? No, probably whatever the fuck you're getting ready to say, I do not agree with.
Oh, so you wouldn't agree with the fact that these hospitals were declaring deaths as COVID when they were really underlying health conditions, because they would get money from the government for every COVID death.
See, this is why I despise right-wing propaganda, because there is a tinge of truth to that. There was money available if people were COVID deaths, and listing a comorbidity, and you take advantage of the stupidity of people that are not media trained like me, and don't actually know what's going on. So listing COVID as a comorbidity is absolutely valid, just because most people don't die of cancer, right? They die of heart failure or organ failure. They get backed up with jaundice or whatever. And then the cancer wasn't actually the cause, but the cancer is what killed them, right? That's what happened with COVID. And you guys are focusing on that technicality, right? You're being dishonest.
Well, it's not focusing on technicality when it's true, because what you've seen...
You're being dishonest. I just explained it.
You can look at the...
I just explained it.
Well, just because you explained it doesn't mean it's true. It's just subjective truth, right?
And objective truth is people died of COVID, even though the main cause might have been organ failure. They still died of COVID. So you're being dishonest in what you're saying.
Well, no, because when you look at the funding
yes,
hospitals received when they declared COVID deaths, we've seen an influx, an increase that these hospitals were receiving from the government.
Okay, and fucking hospitals get money from the government. Like, you're passing that off as that's some nefarious thing.
Well, because if I'm a hospital, because at the end of the day, I'm still a company, right? I'm providing a service.
Not all hospitals are companies, first of all. And you guys, TPUSA supposedly is a fan of the free market and shit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think free market is a really good thing.
So don't come at me with this, if I'm a company, I'm going to try to maximize my profits. Well, duh, that's the shit you advocate for.
And that's what they did, though. They maximized their profits by declaring COVID deaths when it wasn't.
But I mean, what are you trying to say, that like COVID didn't kill over 1 million people in this country?
No, it really didn't.
But it did.
So just because the CDC can put out a number, which, I mean, half the time
is backed up by statistics. Anyway. Once again, you're taking a technicality. You're saying that hospitals marked it down as COVID when it was like heart failure or lung failure or whatever. But it was caused by COVID. I explained this. Much the way cancer doesn't kill people, it's a contributing factor, and they died of an organ failure. So you're being dishonest.
Well, then I guess we're both right, because technicality is truth.
Yes, but like, you're doing this for a propaganda reason in order to take advantage of people's ignorance. That COVID somehow wasn't this big of a deal, but the founder of TPUSA died of it.
Sure, I mean, but again...
The founder of TPUSA died of it.
Sure.
But hey, it's not that big of a deal, right?
I mean, personally, I don't think so.
The founder of the organization that you represent died of it, my friend. While your organization was out here pushing nonsense propaganda. I find that reprehensible. Now, do you not understand why I would see TPUSA as an evil fucking organization? Because business, and here's the reason why you were pushing that bullshit. The business interests that you guys represent wanted the economy back open. They wanted people to go back out here in the meat grinder without proper protections and get back to work, make those dollars.
Well, yeah, I mean, people should be going back to work.
It was a public health emergency. We could have saved lives.
Well, lives were saved.
So you're admitting that without the COVID measures that we did institute, it would have been worse than the more than 1 million that died?
Oh, yeah, I think it would actually be less.
Huh?
Yeah, I think that it would be less. The tough restrictions that certain states proposed or the government proposed was just stupid. It was nonsense.
How so?
Propaganda
How so?
To impose fear in people, to stay indoors, to
Brother, here, hey
let the
man,
people
hey
on.
man, hey man, hey man. I am tired of right wingers coming like, oh, the virus that actually killed over 1 million people. We're fear mongering somehow. But then all I ever hear from the right is how immigrants are a problem and they're going to come and rape and kill the Riley Gaines, or I mean not Riley Gaines. What was the one woman that got killed by an immigrant? Reagan Riley. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
but
all
there's
you
been a few.
guys fucking do is fearmonger constantly. Trans people are invading women's sports. All you fuckers ever do is fearmonger. But when we have an actual national emergency, a real life virus that's killing people, you guys are like, oh, it's not that bad because you're fucking propaganda. You're paid to do that. That's why you're an evil fucking organization.
Well, it's actually not, because
It actually is.
what was COVID?
What do you mean?
Yeah, like what symptoms did you get from COVID? What was COVID? What was it similar to in terms of medical terms?
It was a coronavirus that had never existed in humans before. We've had it was like the 5th coronavirus that was ever spawned on us. I'm not a medical person. And it's also been a long time since we've actually talked about COVID because we've all moved on. Right wingers are really focused on it though.
Well, you were the first one.
I was the one that brought it up this time, yes.
But I'm just asking you, what is the COVID similar to?
I don't know what you mean similar to. If you're going to say the flu, it killed like 15 times more people than the flu.
No, I'm just saying it is similar to the flu in terms of...
It killed 15 times more people than the flu.
Well, sure, I can agree with that in terms of the statistics that are provided, but I'm just saying it is similar to the common flu that we all have.
It killed... No, you can't say it's similar to the flu if it killed 15 times more people than the flu killed. It's not, actually. You can't keep asserting things. You can't keep asserting your opinion as fact, especially when your opinion is, like, blatantly wrong.
Well, I mean, according to medical researchers, it is similar.
It's not. The flu didn't kill 15 times as many people. So you can't say it's like it. You see what I'm saying? That's fucking dumb.
Well, it has all the similarity traits that the flu does.
The flu didn't kill 15 times more people.
But why?
Because COVID is far worse than the flu, you stupid fuck. Like that's...
No, because it's almost like we've had a vaccine for the flu for, decades, really.
Okay, and people still die from the flu. About, like 20,000, 30,000 people die every flu season.
But if we didn't have a vaccine, do you think those numbers would be influxed?
Yeah, there would be more people dying of the flu if we didn't have a flu vaccine, yes.
Exactly. So, that's why I really could care less about COVID. They have a vaccine for it now, and it is what it is. They pushed the vaccine very earlier than they did with the flu vaccine.
Okay.
So there was no need for the tough imposed restrictions.
Well, the restrictions happened long before the vaccine, my friend. And all the restrictions had pretty much been lifted by the time the vaccine happened.
Sure.
Okay.
But in terms of time and and how everything was went about, the flu, before they even had a vaccine for the flu, killed more people.
What?
Yeah, that's true. Before there was a vaccine...
I have no idea the point you're trying to say.
Well, you're trying to say that the COVID strand, the COVID whatever, killed more people.
It killed over 1 million people.
Yeah, and over time, throughout history, the flu has killed more people.
Over time. COVID killed like 1.5 million people in what, a year and a half? 2 years?
Sure.
My friend, you might want to move on to a different topic.
Well, I don't think that you get what you're trying to say. You're trying to say that it was worse because it killed more people faster, but I would argue and say that the flu was worse because we still have a vaccine for it. People still die from it every single year, and more people died from it throughout history before we even had a vaccine, and it wasn't pushed as fast as the COVID vaccine.
What is your fucking point, man? I am, bro. Yeah, bro.
You're trying to say that it was worse, and it's not.
That what was worse?
That COVID was worse than the
COVID is worse. COVID kills 15 times as many people as the flu.
In a short amount of time.
In the time period that we are discussing, as in during COVID.
Sure. But we never had lockdown restrictions for the flu, and it's killed more people.
We actually did. You're wrong on that one.
And when did we have flu restrictions?
During the Spanish flu.
I'm talking about the common flu. Not talking about the Spanish flu. We're talking about the
Well, the common flu is an offshoot of the like you don't know what you're talking about, my friend. This is what man. This is my problem with right wingers is that you guys are really dumb, and I have to spend all my time explaining shit to you guys. Well, and how did you? Hey man, I'm a really good talker, way better than you. I'm way better at making arguments, as you can tell. So, like, how do I get some of that Turning Points money? I'll sell out. You bring me on to Turning Point, I'll turn on a dime. Charlie Kirk is my hero. I'm anti-abortion. I'll cut my hair. Give me some of that tea. I want an actual salary. Can you get me like $100,000 a year?
Yeah, I mean, it's really easy to think that when the entire time you interrupt or just continue on nonsense, talking points for 5 minutes.
What talking points did I give you?
Arguments. Like, again, like every time that I try to talk, you've interrupted me. You've continued on tangents for literally no reason.
Did I interrupt you when you said bullshit?
You just interrupted me again. So you know what I'm talking about.
Did I interrupt you when you said bullshit?
When did I say bullshit? I didn't even say that.
You said we didn't have lockdowns for the flu, and I was like, yes, we did. It was during the Spanish flu, and you're like, oh, I meant the common flu. The Spanish flu, like, beget the common flu. That's the ancestor of the common flu. Like, you do not know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of different strands of the flu, but in terms of like a generality, I think that we can all come to an agreement of what I was talking about. You were the one that took it out of context to say, oh.
Well, you keep trying to minimize the effects of COVID by comparing it to the flu, and that's a false analogy because you're fucking stupid.
No, what you're trying to do is pivot the argument to a point that makes sense to you to pivot away from the original argument and the claim. That's what you're trying to do, and that's what you've done the entire time.
No, I've proven myself multiple times. What even is your argument?
Well, that's the thing. You don't know my argument because every time that I try to make my point, you've interrupted me.
Well, every time you say something incorrect, I have to correct you.
No, you feel the entitlement and the need to interrupt me because you think that you are correct. Because
I know that I'm what I where when was I incorrect?
See, there again, I didn't even get to finish what I was saying, and you interrupted me again. You don't have patience, right? You say that you're a good public speaker, but you can't even have the patience for 5 minutes to let someone get their point across. And
brother, if you're saying something that is fundamentally untrue, I can't just let you rapid fire things that are untrue. That's called a gish gallop.
Well, you could also.
That is a shotgun fallacy. I have to stop you and correct your point. Do you see what? Like, that's what frustrates me about right wingers. What you're saying is you want to come in here and you want to throw out a bunch of untruths and flood the zone, and that way I have a hard time correcting you. I don't let right wingers do that. I stop you, correct you. So if you would like me to let you finish, then don't say something incorrect and make me stop you.
Well, it's not about if you think, right? It's about cold respect, and you're having a debate.
I don't have respect for you. They're like, why would I have respect for you?
That's unfortunate. Well, the thing is, you should, regardless of who somebody votes for, who somebody supports, you should respect somebody regardless of who they support, because it's just how it's called having morals and good ethics.
That's not morals and ethics. Respect is earned. If you're coming in here like spouting bullshit that you don't know about, of course I don't respect you.
No, respect, you're born with it. You don't earn it.
No, you're born with respect. This is an abstract concept, and you're trying. See, you keep trying to assert things as a concrete axiom, and it's just not true. You're not born with respect.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Why do you respect your mom?
I don't.
You don't respect? Okay. Why do you respect maybe an elder like your grandma or your grandpa?
I don't necessarily respect them.
What about your dad?
totally don't respect my dad.
So who do you respect in your life right now?
I don't know.
There has to be somebody, right? And I would argue
I'm pretty anti-authority. Like when you're talking about respect, you're trying to like impose a hierarchy on me and like a moral system that I probably don't subscribe to, my friend.
Oh, sure, but I would argue in the sense, like, for me personally, I
need a precise definition. Define respect.
So for let me finish what I was saying. So, for example, my mom didn't earn respect, right? She was immediately given that respect as soon as I was born. She didn't have to earn my respect. She was given it.
You're in a subservient role as a child. You're not respecting. So hold on. First of all, I need a precise definition. I need to know exactly what we're talking about when we say respect.
So, in the perspective of
a feeling of deep admiration for someone or something elicited by their abilities, qualities, or achievements. That's not something that is innate. That is something that is earned, elicited by their abilities, qualities, or achievements.
Yeah, it wouldn't be earned.
Elicited by their abilities, qualities, or achievements. Literally, that means earned.
It doesn't.
I am reading you the definition. Elicited by their abilities, qualities, or achievements.
Sure, and I could argue each individual point.
My friend, that literally means earned. What I just read to you. And for you to just say, no, it doesn't, is infuriating.
Look up the definition of earned right now, please.
Brother.
Let's do our due diligence too.
Obtained in return for labor or services. Elicited by their abilities, qualities, or achievements. That's exactly what it means.
It doesn't, though.
How does it not? What does elicited by their abilities, qualities, or achievements mean?
Right, so somebody is really great at something. For example, your mom is great at being a mother, providing and caring for you, etc., etc.
So she had to earn it by being a good mom.
No, so she was given that respect.
No, she had to earn it by being a good mom. You do not understand what you're talking about. Seriously, my friend. I've got to hang up on you now because they have redeemed it. But like, you're dumb. You're really dumb.
You know, what I find quite interesting about the left in particular, and you know...
What I find quite interesting is that I read you a specific definition, and you couldn't fucking agree to it, because it proved you wrong.
You've thrown out a bunch of insults the entire
Because I'm not insulting you. You are dumb.
Calling me stupid, so what is stupid? It's calling someone stupid.
I called you dumb because you are dumb.
Well, is that
you have proven you are dumb. I read you a definition, and you couldn't agree to it. Because it proved you wrong.
I just proved you wrong by giving you a fundamental base on how that's wrong, and you disagree with it.
You're disagreeing with the basic definition, my friend.
The basic definition...
Elicited by their abilities, qualities, or achievements. That is not innate in someone. That means elicited by their abilities, qualities, or achievements. That means to earn. So you were 100% wrong, and you can't admit it. And that is everything with right-wingers. That's why you guys are infuriating. You're fucking stupid, and you're arrogant about your stupidity. And because Turning Points pays you... Because you're paying, there's not anybody out here paying the left. I do this in spite of my career, to be honest with you. I would be way better off in my career if I spewed right-wing fucking nonsense. But I can't because you guys are fucking stupid and evil. And I've got to stand up to you.
The only reason you don't have a platform is because your ideology is so flawed that it doesn't even make sense to half the population.
My ideology isn't flawed. You are just dumb.
Yeah, sure.
I read you a definition, and you couldn't agree that the definition meant what it meant.
Sure, I would agree that there's some some instances in there where you could argue that something would be earned.
There's not some instances where you could. This is right-wingers always want to play semantic games. You can't just fucking agree. I read you the Merriam-Webster goddamn definition, and you can't accept it as a fact because it proves you wrong. It is a fact. It is a fact.
If both sides are fundamentally correct, then it would.
No, you weren't correct. You were fucking wrong.
No, just because your morals don't align with mine.
No. It's not my morals don't align with yours. I read you a definition, and you couldn't accept that the definition was the definition. That has nothing to do with morals or anything. You just can't accept facts. And it is infuriating.
You can't accept the facts either, and it's infuriating to me.
What facts am I not accepting?
It's just subjective truth.
Did you say subjective truth?
It's subjective truth.
Subjective truth?
Yes.
You're saying subjective because the definition of the word respect is objective. I'm reading it to you right now. A feeling of deep admiration for someone or something elicited, and in this definition, elicited is underlined, elicited by their abilities, qualities, or achievements, which means earned.
Okay, look up the definition of elicited, please.
Of what?
Of elicited.
My God. Evoke or draw out from someone in reaction to one's own actions or questions.
So you're telling me in that definition that would not in any circumstance mean given at all?
No. Not innately. No. Sorry. You're dumb. That's why I can't fucking stand you people. And I gotta hang up because they redeem the points. I'd argue with you for hours. Call back in or come back in a couple of days, please. Or get me a job with TPUSA, my friend.
Well, you couldn't because you don't know what you're talking about, and that's just really unfortunate.
How do I not know what I'm talking about? Go ahead, explain it.
Like you said, you have to hang up, and I think that's really unfortunate.
How do I not know what I'm talking about? I just explained how you don't know what you're talking about. Can you explain it succinctly how I don't know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I just had an entire conversation without throwing out a single insult. So, I mean,
that doesn't mean I don't know what I'm talking about. That's an appeal to decorum. Once again, you guys love these fucking logical fallacies. Explain how I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, I would say you don't know what you're talking about because, I mean, you like to cuss a lot and you also...
That's not explaining how I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, I laid it out succinctly. I gave you the example of you not agreeing to the definition of respect. Can you give me an example of how I don't know what I'm talking about?
Well, based on psychologists, I would disagree with you, but, I mean, that's just really unfortunate.
You're disagreeing that I proved you wrong, that you didn't agree to the definition of respect.
Well, because
or earned
something doesn't make it true.
Brother, what? See, this right-wingers always want to play these games. No, the definition of respect that I read you, that is an objective fact.
To who, though?
To everyone, because that is objectively the definition of respect, you dumb fuck. This is why I hate people like you.
That's unfortunate. I don't hate anybody.
Because you're stupid and you're arrogant in your stupidity.
Well, I don't hate somebody who voted for Kamala Harris.
I don't hate you because you voted for Trump, though that is definitely part of it. You voted for Trump because you're fucking stupid. Because, like, you want to live in a fantasy world, and because TPUSA is paying you from the pockets of billionaires to have the stupid fucking opinions you have.
Oh, I mean, like I said, more billionaires support the Democratic Party, but that's just...
I mean... Once again, that's technically the truth, but the Democratic Party wasn't going to come in and have a cabinet full of billionaires the way Trump does. Trump himself, a billionaire. That's what I keep hearing from right-wingers that like, oh, the globalists. I'm like, you elected a dude who has business contracts all over the goddamn globe.
Yeah, we should.
You shouldn't have elected that dude because TPUSA sure did work hard to get him elected.
Yeah, he was obviously the better choice.
How was he the better choice? The corrupt dude with the billionaire cabinet was the better choice.
Well, I mean, the guy that came in and is eradicating wasteful spending in the federalized government.
He hasn't eradicated anything. No. The Doge department actually cost more. His government is on track to spend more. You guys are just idiots that fall for any propaganda, and that's why I hate you. I'm sorry, my friend. You got to come back another time. Get the fuck out of here, you dumbass. This is why I just break down and call right-wingers morons. Seriously, guys, give me a little bit longer when I'm really enjoying myself like that. I really, I can't believe that, I read the definition to him and he's just like, nuh-uh.